Invasion of Chaos was released March 1st, 2004. This here is the set that changed Yu-Gi-Oh! The amount of insanely powerful cards at all rarities are going to completely change our meta, most likely. So this set has a number of archetypes in it as well, but the biggest common cards in the set that share a theme are monsters that you can special summon by banishing other monsters from your graveyard. There is an elemental cycle of these at common, and most of them are playable. There's also the 3 chaos monsters in the set, which we will be covering towards the end. Other Ojamas are in this set, but those will not be pertinent for a while until we get some more Ojama support later. So the first noteworthy cards are the Elemental Banishers, 3 of the 4 of which are very playable. Unfortunately, Fire got the short end of the stick again with Inferno, which is a 1900 defender, which could possibly be playable in some stall decks that involve fire cards, but that's a bit of a stretch. Fenrir, while not playable now, will be playable once we get some more water support down the line towards the start of Xyz era, because there is a deck later on that revolves around interacting with banished water monsters, and this one banishes 2 at a time. Gigantes is a 1900 special summon that is Heavy Storm when it dies. Great card. And then Sylphid is a 1700 wind monster that you can special summon by banishing a wind monster from your graveyard, and then it is a confiscation on legs. This card is fantastic. And now we have a couple more noteworthy monsters at the common slot. The biggest one is Chaos Sorcerer. This is a 2300 attack monster that can be special summoned by banishing 1 light and 1 dark monster from your graveyard. And it can, instead of attacking, it can once per turn banish any face-up monster. This is going to see play if we can support it. Gren Maju is also in this set. While this card is not powerful now, it can get extremely powerful later on once we get cards like Pot of Extravagance. Just anything that can mass banish cards and make Gren Maju absolutely massive. It can also pair well with graveyard floodgates later on, such as Macrocosmos, to become massive. Most of the regular common spell cards are not of note, but there is one in the short print slot that we will talk about when we get to the rest of the commons. Cursed Seal of the Forbidden Spell is in this set as well, and it is our first common spell negation. Now, you have to discard a spell card rather than just a regular, just any card, but it will negate any spell card and prevent your opponent from activating copies of that card for the remainder of the duel. This will be in side decks. A Neo Bug will be played in insect builds later on. A Sea Serpent Warrior of Darkness and Terror King Salmon are cards I'm going to be looking for. These are going to get played in a deck that could come up in a little bit once we get a slightly more support for it with some upcoming sets. And that is a Legendary Ocean with Heart of the Underdog. Or there's a lot of normal monster support coming up soon, and Terror King Salmon under Legendary Ocean is a 2600 normal summon. Absolutely massive. So all of those battle footballers and giant orcs that were giving us trouble, this will clear over all of them. The next card that board I'm sure will want to pick up is Stealth Bird. Stealth Bird is a Pac-Man piece. It is 1700 defense. It can set itself once per turn, and when it is flip summoned, it does 1000 damage. This is a fantastic card. The next card of note is Amphibious Boogroth Mark III, which, if you have a Legendary Ocean in play, is a 1700 direct attacker. This is something I'm going to be looking for playset of as well, because I would like to build the Legendary Ocean deck if my pulls from this set are not amazing. Ryukoki is another card that I've been talking about for several sets now, and now it will get its chance to shine. Its ability to destroy warrior and spellcaster type monsters is mostly trinket text, but it is a 1 tribute 2400 that is another target for Call of Mummy. Salvage, while not important now, is going to be a staple of frog decks. And now scrolling up to the short print commons. There are quite a few powerful ones here as well. A Heart of the Underdog is a card that you can build an entire deck around. So what Heart of the Underdog does is, if you draw a normal monster during your draw phase, you can show it to your opponent and draw an additional card. This will trigger off of any card that you draw in the draw phase, not just the one that you draw for your turn. You might remember I have 2 copies of Jar of Greed, so if I can make the normal monster deck work, I will be playing both of them. A Giga Gaga Gigo is another normal monster for this Legendary Ocean deck that I would really like to have. It is absolutely massive. Another card that we may see board play in his stall decks is Stumbling. So Stumbling is a little bit like Vengeful Bog Spirit, but instead of making the monster not able to attack, it forces any monster that is successfully summoned to change defense position. Now, Pinch Hopper is a trap. It is something that you just have to jump through too many hoops to get through. So when Pinch Hopper is sent from the field to the graveyard, you are allowed to summon any insect monster from your hand. However, the Pinch Hopper being sent from the field to the graveyard must be the last thing that happened. So if you tribute this for a tribute summon, if you tribute this for an effect, it will miss timing. And because of this, Pinch Hopper looks really good, but it's very hard to actually use properly. So the only real way that you're able to abuse Pinch Hopper is you have to kill it yourself with some other spell card that is resolved as Chainlink 1. Manju of the 10,000 Hands is going to be very important for ritual decks going forward. It is a Sonic Bird and Senju stapled onto 1 card. It can get you either of your 2 ritual pieces. Smashing Ground is the common that we are going to be looking for at 3 copies. This is premium removal. You might remember Fisher. This is better than Fisher. We're going to be looking for 3 copies of this. It destroys 1 monster with the highest defense on your opponent's side of the field. And Earth Chant is the Earth version of Contract with the Abyss from the last set. For the rares, we have a lot of powerful rares as well. Most of them monsters. Berserk Gorilla is the first 2000 beater in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! That does not have a massive drawback. So the drawback to Berserk Gorilla is it has to attack every turn if possible. Mad Dog of Darkness is another 1900 beater. Enraged Battle Ox is a 1700 beater that gives all of your Beast, Beast Warrior, and Winged Beast monsters piercing. So a 1700 body with piercing is already good, but adding piercing to other monsters incidentally can be fantastic. Dark Triceratops is a respectable tribute summon. It's a 2400 piercer. Mataza the Zapper is an upgrade to Hayabusa Knight, which we will play in the warrior deck if we do get copies of it. And most notably, it cannot be stolen with Change of Heart. A compulsory evacuation device is going to be a staple going forward. It is a trap card that simply bounces one of the monsters on the field, and it is very good now and will get better once more summoning mechanics have been added to the format. A lot of the super rares in Invasion of Chaos are not very good. The ones that I'm going to be looking for are DD Scout Plane, which has a couple of cute things that you can do with it with the Chaos monsters. Freed the Brave Wanderer, which is a 1700 light warrior that is useful both in pure light decks and in Chaos decks, for its typing, its body, and its ability to remove monsters in a pinch. A Reload is a -1, we won't be talking about it. Orca is something that we won't be particularly looking for, but if we do wind up playing the water deck and we are short on the 2 common 5-star normals, this could wind up being played. And Trap Jammer is a side deck card. This can only be activated during the battle phase, but it will negate any trap as a 1-for-1. Now, the Ultra Rares. The Ultra Rares is where the fireworks start. There are a lot of absolutely insane Ultra Rares. I'm looking at that second one right here. Blackluster Soldier, Envoy of the Beginning. This is an absolutely legendary card. But we do have other Ultra Rares to talk about as well. Strike Ninja is a gimmicky card. I'm not gonna lie, this is my pet card in Yu-Gi-Oh! It's a card that probably shouldn't be played in a lot of decks, but I like some of the utility that it offers. This is one of the first monsters with a quick effect that can be activated from the field. If you banish 2 dark monsters from your graveyard, you can banish Strike Ninja until the end phase. And this can be a spell speed 2 effect, so it can be used in response to monster removal, or in response to anything except the spell speed 3 effect. So it's something that I will play if I get it, but it's not particularly powerful compared to some of the other ones. But Blackluster Soldier, oh boy, this card can win a game on its own. It's a 3k beater, it can attack twice a turn, it can banish any monster, face up, face down, attack, defense, does not matter. It can banish any monster, and all it takes is a light and a dark in your graveyard. Dark Magician of Chaos is another very powerful 8-star monster. And this one was so powerful that it actually received errata later on to make it a lot worse. So it's a 2 tribute monster that is really worth the cost. When it's normal summoned or special summoned successfully, you get to add a spell card from your graveyard to your hand, and it banishes anything it battles. This is something that we are going to abuse with our Monster Reborn and Call of the Haunted if we get it. A Levia Dragon is another ultra rare that I will be very happy to see. By sending an Umi, and Legendary Ocean counts as Umi, to the graveyard, you can destroy everything else on the field except this. And because a Legendary Ocean reduces its level from 7 to 6, it is a 1 tribute 2800. And our last ultra rare is Dimension Fusion. Dimension Fusion is an incredibly powerful card that can never ever come off the ban list. At a cost of 2,000 life points, both players special summon as many of their banished monsters as possible. There's no way that this is anything but extremely broken in any capacity or in any format. So you can use this with the Chaos monsters to special summon everything that you banished. It is absolutely amazing. And then the other 2 cards, the secret rares, oh boy. One of them is unplayable, and one of them might be the best monster in the format.
Next, I'll remove my blue eyes and my pitch dark dragon from the game, which allows me to summon this, my Chaos Emperor Dragon!
Chaos Emperor Dragon, Envoy of the End, another 3,000 beater that banishes a Light and a Dark to be summoned, and this guy, with priority, mind you, so there's nothing your opponent can do to stop the activation of it, less a Solemn Judgment or anything that negates summons. You can give up 1,000 life points to destroy everything on the field and in both players' hands. This single card is what caused the beginning of the Forbidden list, and that's just a few months out. In October is when the first cards got banned, and this was on that beginning list. However, for purposes of the progression series, we are using the current traditional list as of the most recent set's release. So even after this card gets forbidden, we will still be able to play it at 1 copy. And with the release of the new set comes a new Forbidden and Limited list. There's a couple of minor updates in this one that will affect us a little bit, but not too much. The big one that affects us is Magical Scientist. Magical Scientist on this list, and not the previous one for whatever reason, will go to 1 copy, Reflect Bounder to 1 copy, Vampire Lord to 1, Butterfly Dagger Elma to 1, and then Morphing Jar goes from 1 to 2. So that won't affect us too much because Scientist we were only playing 1 of anyway, and all the other cards are high rarity. Alright, 24 packs of Invasion of Chaos, possibly the most important opening until the end of GX era with Phantom Darkness and Light of Destruction. Powerful, powerful cards across all rarities, and hopefully we get something amazing. And in our first pack, we get nothing. Bunch of nothing. 9 terrible cards. Alright, this pack has a Manju, but if these packs are any indication of how we're going to open, I'm scared. Well, there's our first copy of Chaos Sorcerer, our first copy of Giga Gaga Gigo as well. We'll be looking for playsets of both this and Terra King Salmon, and a playset of Chaos Sorcerer wouldn't be a bad thing to pick up either in case we need to audible to the Chaos deck. Dark Triceratops is a good beater too, and depending on how Board's deck evolves, might actually see play. There's our first copy of Sea Serpent Warrior of Darkness, as well as our first copy of Stealth Bird. One of your cards in this pack are terribly noteworthy. And there's our first copy of Heart of the Underdog, as well as our first copy of Smashing Ground. If we're going to play this Water Normal monster deck, we will want 3 copies of Heart of the Underdog, and you may recall we also have 2 copies of Jar of Greed, which will let us trigger this outside of our normal draw for the turn. Something I'm going to be looking to pick up, and if we can get playsets of them, that would be fantastic to actually make that deck work. And there's our first copy of Gren Maju. Nothing else really noteworthy in this one, though. What are these packs? There's nothing in here. There's just nothing in these packs. And there's an ultra rare. It's not a particularly good ultra rare. It is Black Tyranno. With Board's current deck, this could actually see play, because Black Tyranno is a big beater that says if your opponent controls nothing but defense position monsters, it can attack directly. So this could be something to consider once we get the dinosaur support in the future as well. And there's some noteworthy commons we picked up. We got a Heart of the Underdog, and we got a Giga Gaga Gigo. Keep them coming. There's a super rare. It is DD Designator. Not particularly playable, although this has seen some side deck play in the past. In competitive formats, it is still very fringe. But it can be a way to remove cards when played in combination with something like a Confiscation, but it is not worth it in our format. And there's our first Compulse. That's another card that we're going to be looking for in multiples. It just bounces anything and will have a lot of utility, especially when we have summoning mechanics that rely more heavily on the extra deck. Another copy of Stealth Bird, but boy, are these some of the poopiest Invasion of Chaos packs I have seen in a very long time. Starting to get incredibly nervous about not getting things. We've only seen one Chaos Sorcerer so far as well, and it's a common. Granted, the set is a little bit larger than some of the sets that we've drafted before, but still, it's a common. We should be able to snag these. And we get an ultra rare, but it's unfortunately another stinker. It is Guardian Angel Joan. And while this will get support later on, a lot of the fairy support is sadly at high rarities. Otherwise, I would windmill slam this down with something like Valhalla and just go crazy with it. It's a powerful card in Archetype, but we unfortunately will not have reliable access to it because all of the Archetype is at high rarity. There's a Sea Serpent Warrior of Darkness, as well as our third copy of Salvage, so we will have that for the fish decks later on. Not too happy with these packs, though. There's been a lot of Garbo that is not going to help us get back on the winning streak that we desperately need to be on so that we can go into the end of the season strong. And there's another super rare. It is Wild Nature's Release, which could potentially see play with some of the beast support towards the end of the season, but I wouldn't rely on that getting played. We did pick up another copy of Stealth Bird, though, and that gives us a playset if we want to play the flip control deck, but unfortunately we got no Tsukiyomi out of Dark Crisis, so I may have to spend some wild cards on Tsukiyomi if I want to play that deck in the future. And there's an Amphibious Boogroth Mark III. That's another card that we're going to want multiple copies of for this Legendary Ocean deck. We are 17 packs in, and that is our first copy of it. This opening has been abysmal. This might be the worst Invasion of Chaos opening out of any progression series on YouTube. So we're going to need a really good card to turn this around. Maybe even a couple of good cards. Well, that's another Amphibious Boogroth Mark III and another Compulse. That's a good start, but it's not something amazing. I would like to get one power card out of this set, and there are a lot of them, but most of them are high rarity. We did snag a second Chaos Sorcerer, and 2 is usually that magic number that you want to play in those Chaos decks. There's a Terror King Salmon. That is our first Terror King Salmon. 19 packs in. We did get another Smashing Ground, though. That makes our second one of those. And we did also get a Dark Triceratops, which could see play in just general beatdown decks because of the piercing. But we are running out of packs. Only 5 packs left to go, and still haven't hit any of the set's bombs. And there's one of the only good super rares in the set. We got Freed the Brave Wanderer. This will go into that warrior deck that we had built, and I'm getting a pretty strong inclination to pivot back to that just because of the amount of success we've had with it, especially with those compulses, which can be used as a tempo play against set monsters. And oftentimes, just that tempo play is all we need to be able to push through for lethal damage. Not impressed with the rest of this pack, though. Alright, there's our playset of Chaos Sorcerer, at least. So in the event that we can make this work, we'll still have our playset of Chaos Sorcerer. And if we can get enough lights and darks that are good, we'll be able to play all 3. I'm still nervous about some stuff I'm missing, though. We're missing a lot of the stuff that I wanted for that water deck. It's playable, but barely. I would like one more copy of Terror King or one more copy of Giga Gaga Gigo to be able to make this deck work. Alright, so coming up on our last couple of packs, hopefully we can get something good in the close. Nothing in that pack. And the last pack, can we get a last pack miracle here? Nothing. This was a sad opening. Maybe the worst Invasion of Chaos opening I have ever seen. So we did get the 3 Chaos Sorcerer. We did not get a lot of the big stuff that I was looking for. We didn't get any of the big stuff I was looking for. A couple of Fringe Hollows, but no big hits. No Dimension Fusion, no DMOC, no BLS, no SED. I don't even know, did we even get a playset of Smashing Ground? We did not. We only got 2. So we got 2 Smashing Ground, we got the 3 Sea Serpents, the Terror King we only got 1 of, the Giga Gaga Gigo we got 2 of, so we do have a few of those summons, but not as many as I would like, so we may not be able to put the full normal monster legendary ocean deck together. Just overall very, very disappointed with this opening. So we will take her to Dueling Book and see what we can come up with. Alright, so a lot has changed this time. This is the deck that we would be bringing to today's duel if I was crazy. I was very, very close to playing this, and I might consider this for a future episode, but unfortunately the deck I found was just a little bit too inconsistent. It looks sweet, but we didn't quite pull all of the things that we were looking for to make this deck happen. So perhaps with some packs off of the wheel spin or a wild card, we might be able to make this work, but unfortunately it's not quite consistent enough for my purposes. So instead, this is the deck that we will be bringing to today's duel. Yes, we're going back to the Warriors, as much as I don't like this because a board's deck is prepared to take this on. Not a ton has changed with Invasion of Chaos. We did make a few changes, and hopefully they will help us deal with set monsters a little bit better. I'll go down the card by card. 1 Air Knight Parshoth, triple Amazoness Paladin, 1 Chaos Sorcerer. We did pull 3 of these, but I could not make room for more than 1, simply because we don't have enough light targets to actually make this work. And Chaos Sorcerer is not good against his sets. The reason for the card's inclusion this time is specifically because of Battle Footballer. The Archfiend deck had a very hard time outing Battle Footballer. I considered playing the Archfiend deck again with Rush Recklessly and other support to be able to eliminate Battle Footballer, but I found that that was less consistent than simply playing the Warrior deck. 1 Don Zaluk, 1 copy of Freed the Brave Wanderer, which we are playing primarily for the body, the type, and the attribute. With only 3 other lights, that ability will never come up. 1 Gravekeeper Spear Soldier, 2 Gravekeeper Spy. We had to bump this down from 3 for deck space. 1 Injection Fairy Lily, 1 Jinzo, 1 Magical Scientist, 2 Magician of Faith. I don't like playing 2 Magician of Faith in such an aggressive deck, but we need it to have enough light targets for Chaos Sorcerer. 1 Marauding Captain, 1 Sangan, 1 Witch of the Black Forest, and 2 Darkblade round out the monsters. For the spells, 1 Change of Heart, 1 Confiscation, 1 Dark Hole, 1 Giant Trunade, 1 Heavy Storm, 1 Monster Reborn, 1 Mystical Space Typhoon, 1 Painful Choice, 1 Pot of Greed, 1 Raigeki, 1 Reinforcement of the Army, 2 Rush Recklessly, and 3 the Allied Forces. For the traps, we have 1 Call of the Haunted, 2 Compulsory Evacuation Device. I really wish I could play 3 of these in this deck because this is such a fantastic tempo move. It is the only real way that we have to deal with set monsters. But we're going to be using this explicitly as a tempo play to be able to get through on enough damage and deal with set monsters that we may have a read on, and then 1 Dust Tornado and 1 Solemn Judgment to round out the main deck. For the side deck, we have the 2nd Chaos Sorcerer, in the event that we need more 2300 bodies. 2 copies of Dark Scorpion Cliff the Trap Remover. This will come in if we see Gravity Binds, because this is a perfect out to Gravity Bind. It's a 1200 warrior, and it's a level 3, so it can attack under Gravity Bind, and it's an MST on legs if you can connect with it. The 3rd Spy is in the side deck as well. 2 copies of Remove Trap, 1 copy of Pharaoh Behind the Door, 2 Bottomless Trap Hole, 2 Light of Intervention. This is all the way back in Pharaoh's Servant, and I really am unsure why I didn't think of this earlier. With all the flip monsters, since board is essentially playing a flip control deck, this completely outs his strategy by allowing no monsters to be placed face down. So any monsters that are set are instead normal summoned in face-up defense position. This turns off his Fiber Jar, his Cyber Jar, his Old Vindictive Magicians. It does turn off Spy though, which is a little annoying, and this is one of those cases where I'm probably going to be boarding out Spy if I do bring this in. But this is a pretty hard counter to what Board's deck is trying to do. We have Mirror Force in the side deck. The reason why we have Mirror Force in the side deck is because I've been noticing Board's main deck does not do a ton of attacking. I have seen him smokescreen into a couple of things like a Giant Orc, and I wouldn't be surprised if Skill Drain was somewhere in his list as well. Speaking of Skill Drain, we have 2 copies of it here. This is another good counter for Board's deck. However, we do need to be careful with this because we have seen him play Giant Orc and Dark Elf, which are cards that you would typically play with Skill Drain. However, I am confident that our Allied Forces and Rush Recklessly's will see us through those threats. And then 1 copy of Trap Dust Shoot, and then the extra. I did add 1 copy of a card to the extra. It is Darkfire Dragon. It's not relevant right now, but this could be relevant later once we make some changes to the deck. I am very, very nervous about what Board pulled if he got any of the power cards out of the set, especially BLS or SED. Very, very scared of those cards, but we will see what kind of deck he has brought to the table. It is time to duel. This is it. Board, this is the set that changed Yu-Gi-Oh! The duel that may well change the progression series forever. This will be a very chaotic duel, to say the least. Indeed, well, good luck. Paper strats for the win. I'll take the play. Good luck, duelist. That's a pretty good start. Draw for turn, standby main. I'm going to activate Painful Choice. Super rare wild card at the very last minute. Pretty happy with that. So we're going to dump Magician of Faith, Gravekeeper Spy, Dark Blade, Amazoness Paladin, and the Allied Forces. That is my pile. Very well. I will take Dark Blade to my hand. I will set a monster, set a back row, and end my turn. Alright, draw for turn, stand by main. I do have the Heavy Storm. Well, both our judgments are gone. You're on a Hero Emerges. Interesting. So I am going to flip up my Magician of Faith. I'm going to get back the Allied Forces to my hand. I will normal summon Dark Blade. I will activate the Allied Forces. I will proceed to the battle phase, 2200 into your Battle Footballer. Soul Tiger. Okay, it was another 2100 Defender. Got it. And then I'll attack for 300 direct. That'll do. Alright, draw for turn, stand by main. I'll normal an Amazoness Paladin. I will switch my Magician of Faith to defense position. I will proceed to the battle phase. 2400 into your set. Of course it's Cyber Jar. That's pretty good. Let's see what the roulette has to say. Did not mean to actually bin those, but I get some pretty good cards. I'll normal Zalug here. So you got a Jirai Gumo and a Soul Tiger. Okay, so I will put the Allied Forces, Call of the Haunted, Pot of Greed, and Chaos Sorcerer to my hand. You get Heavy Storm, Smashing Ground, Final Countdown. Main Phase 2. I've already normaled this turn. This is awkward. I think I'm going to just do this now, though. After combat, I'm going to banish a Light and a Dark for Chaos Sorcerer. I will banish your Gumo with priority. I will end my turn. Gillosaurus, huh? I'll go ahead and special Amazoness Paladin. I'm pretty sure there's a Raigeki following, though. Smashing Ground, you get my Sorcerer. Is this a Demock? Invader of Darkness! That's not what I was expecting. I thought that was going to be a Demock. You're on Invader of Darkness. Interesting. That's not a card I was expecting you to be on. I'll take 1100 points damage here. Draw for turn, stand by main. How do I deal with this Invader of Darkness? Well, I think I'm going to fire off this Pot of Greed first. Alright, I'm going to draw a couple cards. How gung-ho do I want to go here? Do I have enough of these in here to actually just kill you? I think I do. Yeah, I think I'm just going to go for it here. I'm going to normal summon Scientist with Prio. Any response to the Scientist activation? Okay. I'm going to get Ryu Senshi. I'm going to activate Scientist again. I'm going to get Empress Judge. I'm going to activate Scientist again. I'm going to get Dragoness the Wicked Knight. I'm going to activate the Allied Forces.
Ooh.
I will proceed to the battle phase. I'm going to attack with Empress Judge into your Invader of Darkness for 4,100. I will attack directly with Amazoness Paladin for 3,800. Yes, you're correct. And then I'll attack with Scientist for 300. I will proceed to the end phase. All of my fusion monsters will return to the extra deck. Okay, that gets the Heavy Storm. Ah, that was what your set was. Okay. Okay, you have Witch of the Black Forest. I will take 800 points of damage. Had to find a way to get that Heavy Storm out of your hand somehow. Draw for turn, stand by main. Does this just kill you? I think this just kills you. I have the Amazoness Paladin. Alright, game 2. That big push with Scientist and double Allied Forces is what did it. That made some massive monsters. Good luck in game 2. Okay. Draw for turn, stand by main. I'm going to normal Marauding Captain here, trigger Marauding Captain. Oh! Skill Drain! That's pretty good. That changes things. I think I'm still obligated to attack into your defender, just on the off chance that it's something else. Prickle Fairy. Interesting. Okay, I guess I take 800. After combat, I will set a card, and I will end my turn. Alright, draw for turn, stand by main. I will normal a Dark Blade here. I'll proceed to the battle phase, and I will attack into your set. That's what I thought. Gotta get him face up, though. I'll end my turn. Alright, draw for turn, stand by main. Boy, I really don't want to expose this card now, but I'm in a Heavy Storm. Got your Cylinder, and Hero Merges. You get my Barrel Behind the Door, which is a card I don't think you've seen yet. I will set a back row, and I will end my turn. During your draw phase, I'm going to activate a new card that you haven't seen yet. Light of Intervention! Get those nasty flip effect monsters out of here. You can't hide anything from me now. Okay, Fisher the Marauding Captain, that's fair. Invader. Big Koala. Interesting. That is an interesting one. Yes. Sangan will proc. That's a Soul Tiger. Well, I will lose 900 life points here. Alright, draw for turn, stand by main. I am going to normal summon Dark Scorpion, Cliff the Trap Remover in defense position and end my turn. Okay, you have a big guy. Cliff under the bus. Alright, draw for turn, stand by main. A little too late, deck. You have 3,700 on board. You have no hand. I'm going to end my turn. I'll just take it all. Gonna need a pretty sick rip to be able to turn this one around. Huh! That might actually do it. Stand by main. I will normal summon Freed the Brave Wanderer. Got the bottomless? Sure. That changes things. This, I think, still buys me a turn, though. Yeah, this buys me a turn at the very least. I'm gonna Monster Reborn targeting Darkblade here. I'm going to activate the allied forces here. I will proceed to the battle phase, and I will attack into your big koala. Anything in battle? Oh, you have the compulse? Okay, yeah, that'll do. Nice hand. So you're on that. Okay, this changes things quite a bit then. Alright, game number 3. This has indeed been quite the chaotic set. I will take the play. Alright, draw for turn. Stand by main. Well, this is kind of irritating. I'm just going to set 2 back row and end my turn. Pot of Greed resolves, unfortunately. Okay, draw for turn, stand by main. I'm going to normal summon Freed the Brave Wanderer. I'm going to activate the allied forces. I'll proceed to the battle phase. 19 into your set. Rush recklessly damage step. I will end my turn. Injection Fairy Lily, huh? Yep, that's pretty good. I will take 1,500. Alright, draw for turn, stand by main. I will set a card, and I will end my turn. You have a giant orc. I gotta think about this one. I have to turn this game around. Nothing in battle. Okay. I'll go to 31. I'll reluctantly take it. I go to 900. Alright. Draw for turn, stand by main. I'm going to Call of the Haunted, Freed the Brave Wanderer, which I will immediately tribute for Air Knight Parshoth. Battle phase, I'm going to Pierce 1900 over your defense position Giant Orc. I will draw a card. Then I am going to, after combat, I will Giant Trunade here to pick up my Call of the Haunted, as well as my other stuff. Then I will set 1... Then I'm just going to set 3 back row and end my turn. They could be anything. Smashing Ground, huh? Yep. Witch of the Black Forest, huh? Yeah, you got it. Well, I have to use Call of the Haunted on Air Knight Parshoth to try to save myself here. Replay the battle. Would you like to continue attacking with Witch? Okay. I do have the compulse. Okay. Draw for turn. Stand by main. I think I get there. Normal Marauding Captain, trigger Marauding Captain. Special Spear Soldier. What a set, dude. That Injection Fairy Lily was so super duper scary. Like, oh my god, that was so scary. So, obviously, if you're on, like, Battle Footballer and Soul Tiger, you probably didn't get any power out of the set. You don't have to say it, but I'm guessing you probably didn't get any power. I'm not actually playing very many cards out of Invasion of Chaos myself. I'm playing Chaos. I think the only cards I'm playing out of Invasion of Chaos are Compulse and Chaos Sorcerer. This was an MST. Oh, geez, you were monster flooded? I'm sorry. Yeah, I drew a really bricky hand in Game 3. I was really surprised I got out of that one. That Call of the Haunted trick with Giant Trunade, that's what won me the game. But, like, that Injection Fairy Lily is such a menace. I even boarded in, like, removal for it. I never saw it. Alright, let's go to the prize wheel and see what we wind up with. Alright, we are back in the winner's circle. I really had no business winning that match. I was so far on the back foot both of those games, and just drew so well. We'll take a win any way we can get it, and this wheel spin might be really important. We'll have to see what we get, because there are a lot of powerful cards. And this is our last chance to get cards from Magic Ruler. That set will rotate out. And we get a wildcard super rare. The super rares from this set, Invasion of Chaos, are not great. There are some other super rares that I have my eyes on from previous sets. So I'm going to need some time to think about this, and I'll let you know my decision. So after much deliberation over 4 different cards, there's a number of different cards I was thinking about taking. I was thinking about taking Exiled Force, DD Warrior Lady, and Freed the Brave Wanderer, among other cards. But ultimately, spell and trap removal is going to be at such a premium until 5D's era, and even beyond that, that I've decided I'm going to take another copy of Dust Tornado. And then we get our bonus spin for winning our match. Let's see what we wind up with here. Hopefully something good. I'd really like to see something high rarity, or even more packs. More packs would be good. Get over there. Oh, not quite. We get a common or rare wild card, which is actually something that I have been looking for. So I'm going to make this decision, and it'll be quite a bit of time for me, but just a little bit for you. So this was another really, really hard choice, because Mystic Tomato is a card that I said I would get a 3rd copy of next time I got the opportunity to, but we still have a couple of sets where it's in the tournament pack. So ultimately, to have a better shot of making my second deck, the level 5 normal water deck, work, I'm going to pick up a 3rd copy of Heart of the Underdog here. Now that I have consistent access to Heart of the Underdog, as well as in multiples, that water deck is going to be a lot more playable. Alright, so that's going to wrap it up for today's episode of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Progression Series. Join us next time, and our next set will be Ancient Sanctuary, which has some more game-changing cards in it. Until then, see you around.